They have 66 organizations as labeled as terrorist organizations. These are official figures, 66. Only 4 are linked to Pakistan. 62 are their own homegrown terrorist organizations. They are facing insurgency in multiple states, more than a dozen states: Manipur, Nagaland, Chhattisgarh, Kashmir, Punjab. So they are just trying to deflect the world attention. And they are succeeding in that, to an extent. We are countering it. Huge tragedy. What happened in Vegas 3 days back? It's a huge tragedy. We share the grief with the American people. But call it terrorism. Terrorism, it's all its forms, in all its forms and in all its manifestations. Why do you call it shooting? Call it terrorism. Why are you afraid of calling spade a spade? So these contradictions will not help. These contradictions will be counterproductive. Face this problem on your own land, on your own soil. Face it head on. Don't be pressurized by the lobbies. So this is how honest we are. We are fighting a war, and we are even winning a war. We are the only winners against the terrorists, against terrorism in the whole world. Pakistanis are the only victors and the winners in the war of terror. Fight against terrorism. F-16 was the main weapon against the terrorists in the last 4 years. Main weapon. There was no collateral damage. We were not like the US Air Force. No collateral damage. Targeted these attacks were done by our Air Force, F-16, and our own JF Thunder. And during this period, the Americans told the Jordanians not to deliver old F-16s to Pakistan. So they actually hampered our effort against terrorism, in fight against terrorism. It was yesterday or the day before yesterday, Senator McCain was drawing parallel between Vietnam and Afghanistan, a war in Afghanistan. Let me remind him through this forum, he has a poor sense of history. When the Americans took over the Vietnam War, they had actually lost the war from day one. Because in Indochina, the Frenchies were too clever for Americans. They handed over a lost war, a losing war to the Americans, and the Americans were too happy to fight for another 1.5 decades. A war which had no end, and then they had to bomb Laos and Cambodia for having sanctuaries. There were many other causes. So let's not play to the galleries, Let's not play to your constituents. Let's face the verdict of the history. The verdict of the history was that you pursued a folly in Vietnam and you lost it. And the verdict of history will be that if the way the Afghan problem is being pursued, you will lose the Afghan war also. You already lost the war. You're just trying to salvage your situation over there. For a second, that their allegation is correct, that we have sanctuaries on our soil. Just for a second, if we admit. Who are the people who are responsible for narcotic trade, corruption in Kabul, selling arms to Taliban, losing territory, and bringing Daesh to Afghanistan? You have found the culprit for sanctuaries given to Haqqanis. Okay. Well, let's see this conflict in its entirety, in its totality. Don't just pick up Pakistan and treat us like a whipping boy. No, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. We want to cooperate. We want to really cooperate with the US. We want to find a solution to Afghan problem. we are suffering. We are actually living in hell because of that decision. It was a bad decision, and Pakistan is paying price for that. Americans won laurels for that decision. They went back chest thumping that we have defeated the Soviet Union and we have settled the score of it now. What happened to Pakistan? Nobody cared. That's the sad part of it. And then people tell us that there's a trust deficit. Yes, there is a trust deficit. Responsible people. We are a responsible country, a responsible nation. And but having said that, when someone tells us that this is the last chance, we don't accept that. Last chance or first chance or second chance, let them talk. In plain and simple words, if that is the way they are going to treat us, if that is the way they are going to talk to us, it's not acceptable. We are a peace-loving nation with our dignity, with our respect. If we are treated with respect and dignity, we'll respond to that 5 times more.